All right, well, I'm glad you have a few minutes for me to talk to you about one of today's most critical cybersecurity aspects. Now, looking back, firewalls, antivirus, patch management were some of the initiatives that started in the past, and they're still important today, but identity security is the new battleground. This is mostly because of the explosions of accounts and identities, entitlements that users have nowadays across our hybrid or cloud-only infrastructures. So therefore, paths to privilege are today's high-risk exposure points. And to put some context around it, let's look at some real-world security breaches that are related to the following topics here. So let me start here with vulnerable or machine accounts. That makes me think of the Microsoft executive accounts breach, which is believed to have begun in 23, and hackers initially gained access by exploiting a lack of MFA, multi-factor authentication, on legacy accounts. As a result, they were able to steal emails from senior leadership, cybersecurity, and the legal team. Another couple of interesting paths to privilege are, for example, the exposed secrets here, as well as remote access. And that made me think of the Colonial Pipeline attack in 21, where attackers got into the network through an exposed password for a VPN account. And the VPN account password was actually that the employee used for another account, and that was the one that attackers were able to get a hold of. And as you all know, the result was a massive outage, millions of ransomware payments, and it affected the economy and us as citizens. Interesting one here is the identity infrastructure misconfiguration. And I learned that there was a breach with a company called Service Bridge, and they're a field service management platform, and they had a database that was freely available online. It exposed credit card numbers, invoices, and HIPAA documentation, and made a lot of people upset that were affected by it. And then another one I want to highlight here is the excessive privileges. So with the city of Columbus, there was a security breach a few weeks ago. And what happened was that a user downloaded a malicious file that enabled attackers to move laterally inside of the network and gain access to unencrypted data that contained personal information and even information about task forces that were fighting cartel and drug-related crime, and put them at risk. So moving forward here and understand what we can do and find and protect these paths to privilege. Let me bubble up a few items here that you see on the screen. We have to ask ourselves which accounts have indirect paths, meaning, in other words, are our users member of multiple inherited groups with cloud apps, or have other unknown permissions that would provide a path to privilege? We also have to understand, where are our vulnerabilities? Are our identity sources secure and protected sufficiently? Or which accounts are being misused? Do we have overprivileged accounts? And if so, what's the risk related to it? And which identities are the most privileged? And determining that is quite a challenge, since nowadays users have many accounts with countless of cloud-related permissions. Let me give you a suggestion and talk to you about the 5 fundamentals of how BeyondTrust can help in protecting your path to privilege with our best-in-class solutions. So we start with number 1 here, unify visibility. So what it means is that you need unified visibility and include all identities and accounts and access sessions and privileges of your today's and tomorrow's IT landscape, whether it's on-prem, hybrid, or in the cloud. Number 2, To gain that visibility, you first need the tools to discover risk pathways. And we do that with our identity security insight solutions. And what we do there is we map identity-related vulnerabilities and break down the risk and the paths to privilege they present. Number 3 is to limit your attack exposure and take action where it matters the most in your environment. Enforce least privilege for every user, every access and asset, and we offer the tools for you to do so with our endpoint privilege management, entitle, and password safe solution. Moving forward, you always need to know when your world, when your environment changes regarding access and paths of privileges. And same as for point 2, we enable you to achieve that with our identity security insight software. And finally, you need to respond with speed to identity compromises and prevent lateral movement by utilizing AI-based detection, response, and improvements in the environment. And that's what we are here for. Thank you very much.